Hi, this is Big V here, Portland, Oregon, and it's Thursday evening. We're going to be listening to the replay of the Thursday night league call here. I'll be dialing in the number, and you guys can listen in to the replay of the call that happened earlier tonight. Wasn't here; I was out and about doing some things. Anyways, we won't go into that. Um, so let me dial in the number and we'll go into the league call with Charlie Moore. Steve Hagan's no longer here, so Charlie Moore has taken over the league call, and we'll find out what the new updates are, if there are any updates, or what's happening in the society. So here we go. Enjoy, guys.
Start meeting. Share better. Please enter your meeting ID followed by the... Please wait. Please enter the reference number followed by the pound key. Enter the pound key to listen to the most recent recording. Please wait while we prepare your files. Press 6 to fast forward for 1 minute. Press...
Thank you.
Really hurt. That's what this time is all about. It's basically for us to say hi to each other, but just to feel the energy. Everybody seemed excited tonight. It was like a happy hour crowd, and they all stayed for 2 hours instead of just a happy hour or something. But it was a great. I mean, that's what it's all about. Now, as I'm listening to everybody, saying hi and laughing and all that, and the energy levels getting higher and higher, and it just reminds me, Juanita, that we'll start feeling this tomorrow. When everybody flies into Newark, New Jersey tomorrow, it's going to be, that's what you imagine. We have well over 100 people in this call already, which is really a lot of people. Now imagine if we were all in the same room right now. Just imagine that energy level. That's what we're going to experience this weekend. So thank you for that. It was absolutely incredible. It's good to be back. I want to thank Karen Abernathy for stepping in for me last week, and I did listen to most of the call. And I tell you, the two of them together were dynamite last week. Juanita and Karen were just on fire.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, it was a great call, But, I couldn't make it in, so that's all right. But, that's what we mean by we have to replicate. It was nice that I could just pick out someone and say, hey, that person can help, fill in for me. And that's what this is all about. It's not just copying somebody. It's basically, we're here to, yes, I've been here a while, so I know a lot about this information, but now it's time for me, and it was, Steve always treated it the same way too. It's time to find replacements. And Karen did that really great last week. But that's what we're looking to do with everyone on these calls. So that anyone can step up and replace someone else. That's what New York Think's all about. So yes, it was a great call last night. Last Thursday, and it's going to be a good one tonight. This is like my favorite topic we're talking about tonight. But first, let's just cover a couple of things up front. And I want to talk about the Reach Out program. And we actually have some more time to mentor tonight because I'm going to talk about the event in fact, I'll talk about the event right now. The event is starting tomorrow, basically. So all the people who are coming are coming. The only thing I can appeal to now is anybody who's within a couple-hour ride of Newark, New Jersey, you can still make it in on Saturday morning and pay at the door and come to the event. Otherwise, I'm not going to talk about it anymore because we've been talking about it for the last 2 months pretty heavy. And we have a lot more people are coming than we thought originally. So that's absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited about showing up there tomorrow and then just meeting and greeting everybody tomorrow almost, for about half the day. And then we have the event on Saturday, and that's going to be it's going to be a great, great event. But again, replicate. That's what Steve did, and that's why me and Sage and Larry can just take this over as if we're not. You won't see anything different on this event that you, or anybody who came to any other previous event. This is going to work just as smooth as everything else did in the past. And now I'll talk about the Reach Out program. If you're not on the Reach Out program, I have to ask you why not. This is a program where it's going to help you. It's a program that I came up with to help you. Who do you go to if you're having a hard time understanding something in the books? Or if your family's really bugging you about this? You have nobody to talk to about NeoThink. And most people on the call are on the call because they're still learning a lot about NeoThink or Neotech. And then if you try to explain it to somebody, sometimes it gets very difficult to explain it. So who do you talk to? Well, you talk to other Neothinkers. Right, Juanita?
That's right, Charlie.
Isn't that the easiest way to go? You know, so that's why we have this reach out list, so that you can go down the line and say, you know, let me try some of these people and see if I can, you know, have a great conversation with, see if I can learn something. The more connections you make here, the better off you are. If I didn't jump into this right away, if Juanita didn't jump into this right away, or Karen Abernathy, or anybody else who's on these calls, we wouldn't be here today. You know, get involved. Start talking to people. It's a great way to make great friendships. It's a great way to learn this information. And it's, you know, we've all been looking for each other our whole lives. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but it took me it took me 58 years to finally meet people that I was looking for my whole life. Because I couldn't find you before this. And how many times did you feel before NeoThink that you were the only person out there who felt the way that you do? Because that's what I thought. The first year when I was reading all this information, I didn't know about any of the calls because there wasn't that much going on back then. I thought I was the only person who ever bought these books. Seriously, I didn't know anything about it for that first year. I just kept reading. I didn't know what else to do. When I found out that I can go and meet other people who had the same thoughts that I did, I couldn't wait to get there. I couldn't wait to get to that clubhouse. Wow, a chance to finally, you know, I thought I was alone my whole life like that. And, you know, here's a lot of us out there. It's important. So if you want to get on this list, send an email to this address. So get your pen and papers out. Your phone number, state your but if you want to get the newsletter, you have to be on the reach out list. So there's the benefits of becoming involved. Just like when we have this event Saturday, and we have a lot of vendors coming in and they're going to have their own table, and all the vendors always offer the people who are there a discount price. That's the benefits of coming to that. This is the benefits of signing up on the Reach Out program, is that you also get the newsletter. So there's always benefits of getting involved. It's like the benefits of you coming on this call. Hopefully you're learning something each week that you're on here. So there's always benefits when you start to get active, when you start to dig in, when you start to express your feelings and, you know, and talk to people. All that is just a big plus for you. The more active you are, the better off you are. And as soon as I got here, I got active.
By the way, this is the way I participate with the calls, because this gives me a chance to share if I disagree with any of the information that they are currently trying to mentor on. So this is my way of interacting with the calls. Is my chance to share my disagreements, what I disagree with. If I have any disagreements, you know, some of the stuff, I question stuff in the society still. And some of the stuff they come up with, I question too. I question the motive with some of this stuff. But so far, you know, there's not much to question at this present moment. there's not much to question. But there's always that little spot in the background that I never say, don't ever question, because I always expect the worst to come out of this society for some reason. So we'll see what kind of motives they have during this mentor call. But this is my way of interacting with the call by recording these calls and playing it public so the public can actually hear what's being said. All right, enjoy.
And, we've just been all working together on this, and it's just going to make it even more exhilarating, the feeling of the weekend. So I really do recommend, like Charlie was saying, that we start replicating out and that we start volunteering wherever we can. Maybe we only can give an hour or 2 hours a week or to something like that, but the value that you get out of it and the learning curve is it's phenomenal. You'll never regret doing it. And I can tell you that just from my own experience of it. So what we do in NeoThink here, it's a place where we can come, and like you heard before the call, all that energy going on. We're just so happy to be together because we reinforce each other. We know we have a lot to learn and we have a lot to get through, but we're here together, and that is a huge safety net that Mark Hamilton always points out to us. We are in a safety net because we value life, we value each other, and it's just a great place to be. And what Charlie was bringing up about gratefulness, you're just so grateful that you responded to the letter because like you said, he read and he just wanted to meet someone, a like-minded person that was in the same literature. And this is where we all come on these calls and we learn together. So it's really valuable to your own growth if you really put the effort, turn the TVs off, turn everything off, and enjoy this ride that we're all taking together. And I just wanted to add that, Charlie.
Thank you, Juanita. Yeah, it's a great trip. If you haven't enjoyed it so far, then keep plugging away, because once you turn the corner here, you can never go back to the old life, and that's what we came here for, was a whole new life. And I tell you, I just, like today was going by so slow that I just want to get up there tomorrow, I'm leaving 7:30 in the morning. I'm driving down my 5.5 hours, and I'm going to get there about 1 o'clock, and then it's just going to be nothing but go for the next 2 days. But we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
So it's always good to see everybody, and then there's all these new faces that are coming, which is absolutely great.
Mm-hmm. And Charlie, I want to add, even today I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay up all night so I can sleep today so I can get on the schedule. But I'm so wired up, like that match that I keep saying you put under us. I have been on the go all day, and I'm like going, oh my gosh, I hope I can take a nap on the airplane, which I don't know if I can or not, but it doesn't matter, because it's like in Miss Annabelle, when everyone's so fired up, they're they don't even think about sleep or food or anything. They just want to get where they're going.
Yeah. And, like, I probably won't sleep all that much tonight either, so it's I probably won't sleep again until I come home Sunday night. But tonight, I think we've got a great call. It's one of my favorite topics. We are in the Prime Discovery, and we're on Appendix F, which is page 281. And I believe this is in what, second book or the third book? I forget. I always forget.
It's the second book after the Advantages. So it's after the poker book, and I don't know what. It should be on the same page for those who have the One Key Neotech, Dr. Frank R. Wallace. Should be on the same page number. on.
Yeah, we're on page 281 in the Prime Discovery. So anyway, it's about biological immortality. It's something that's the ultimate goal of neotech and neothink. Because what else is there? It's about life. It's about living. The only thing that stops us from that is mythicism. And that's been over a 2,000-year-old hoax, and it still is a hoax and always will be a hoax. I can't imagine, we live in in a society of death. I mean, it's in our faces every day, either through TV or the internet or just living life. It's always about death and negativity and hoaxes and lies and fake this and fake that. So Frank R. Wallace has put this together, and he says there are 3 steps that we must get through to achieve biological immortality. But I just like the way he writes it. He says, but before we get into that, basically he's saying, let's define biological immortality. All right? And he means to live as flesh and blood human beings forever, but not just an extended life, but to live mind, body, and soul as one's own non-aging self for centuries, millennia, forever. Now, yes, that's very hard to wrap your head around, us living in these bodies forever, not 1,000 years or 5,000 years, but forever. It's a hard concept to get our minds wrapped around it. And the more mythicisms that you have, the harder it is to really believe in it. When I first got here, I didn't believe in biological immortality. It's not that I didn't believe in it, I just wasn't truly understanding what that meant. And I remember talking many times with Steve about it, and his mind wasn't there either in the beginning about actually believing it. So it took us both, and I think within like a couple months of both of us finally crossed over that bridge and really, really embraced it. But it's something, it's not achieved unless the entire person, including his consciousness, awareness, his memory, and especially the sense of self, is preserved fully intact forever. In other words, we are going to stay as we are as far as who we are. Time's not going to change us in that way. We are still basically that same person. All we'll do the whole time that we are living is learning new information. But that's not the only important thing about living forever. It's also about to preserve the most precious, important value in the universe, one's own individual, integrated, physical, and conscious self. This world does not look at life as precious. It doesn't look at people as individuals. Hell, most people out there don't even look at themselves as an individual. Most people don't know what being an individual is. That's how much they have brainwashed us. That's how much they have put mythicisms in our minds and in our bodies and in our souls every day for over 2,000 years. That people don't even look at themselves as themselves. They're just part of the clan, or they're part of the flow, or they're just part of the crowd, or whatever. And that's what makes them feel good. They have no idea who they are. That's sad. That's beyond sad. I don't even know what word I could use for that. But that's how they have us thinking. Like when people, because I've said this a million times. Ask somebody if they want to die, and they will say no. But ask them if they want to live forever, and they'll also say no. So we are all confused about living, and we are all confused about dying. But we have to look at it in that light. Because if you don't think that that's true, when was the last time this government passed a law for the individual? Think about that. There's been a law passed probably since the Constitution was signed. It's about the individual. It was either about the sex of a person, or it's about the color of their skin, or it's about the religious angle of it. There's never been, if all the laws were written for individuals, we would have no problems in this country, or in the world for that matter. If we were treated and respected and we all thought that we were individuals, but we're not. People, most people, especially the politicians, because they are the ones that fuel it, but most people say, well, geez, he's black, so I can't be a friend of his, or he's white, so I can't talk to him, or he's pink, or he's blue, or he's yellow, or he's black. It doesn't matter. When are we going to get past this color of the skin as part of that we can't all get along? It's just so, it's childish. I think racism is childish. And, and that's one of the things that I do love when we have these events. Because we used to do clubhouses in Manhattan, Steve and I. And, in Newark's just right across the bay there, right? And I love NeoThink events, especially when they get big, because when you throw like a clubhouse in Manhattan and you have people come, and it's the same thing here, we cover probably every continent in the world. This is like a UN meeting. Everybody's different colors and different creeds and different accents and languages, and it's never mentioned. But everybody talks to each other, and it took me a while. Maybe I was coming to clubhouses for about a year or so, and one time it just snapped. Sometimes you just have that thought that, where the hell was that for the last couple of years? And I had this thought, and I'm looking, and we're having a clubhouse in, I think it was in Manhattan, so it was probably more than a couple of years that I was coming to these events. And I realized, and I'm looking around the room, and I see, and I was talking to everybody, so I was talking to people from Russia, I was talking to people from the Middle East, I was talking to people from Europe, I was talking to people from Africa, I was talking to people from South America and Central America, and I think there was even an Asian person there. So and I'm saying, but nobody's talking about it. We're just individuals talking to each other. And I never felt anything about racism. And I'm thinking, man, if the whole world could just be this, just have that out of the way, who wouldn't want to live forever? I mean, it was just, and I've noticed it, I've never seen anybody, I've seen a couple of people talk to me about, that they were not the purest of heart when it came to racism, and that's okay. They're not here anymore, as far as I know. But but I never hear anybody. Once you start to progress and you start to understand what Franco Wallace is talking about. I mean, honestly, most times when I'm at an event, I don't even think about it that somebody's a different color than I am. Who cares? I don't even look at it sometimes anymore that somebody might be in that room that's 90 years old. I don't care. Because it doesn't matter.
By the way, my viewpoint on what Charlie Moore is talking about racism, I have no room for it.
Just like I'm trying.
It's despicable. If you're going to a meeting of any sort and you have any ounce of racism, you need to get that out of your system, out of your thinking, out of your bloodstream, out of your heart, because racism is a killer of life. I don't like racism. I'm not a racist person myself. If people respect me, I respect them. That's how it works. Racism, I have no room for it. So as long as people respect me, I'll respect them. That's how my view on racism is. But racism, I think it's a waste of time. I think if people are being respectful to you, you got to show respect back to them. That's my opinion on that. Thanks.
And all this is peace and love and sharing knowledge and getting excited. It's an incredible thing. You want to add anything to that, Juanita?
That was great, Charlie. When I first stepped into this and started looking at biological immortality, I always had my son. He used to always say, "Mom, you act like you're going to live forever," and he always said that to me. And then when I started reading this literature, I was like, "Wow." It really took me, because I'm like, before NeoThink, they have us so conditioned that we have to go buy life insurance, we have to get ready to go in the ground, that we don't have anything to dream or hope for. And like in our visions that we have laid out for us in NeoThink, we have so much to live for. And when you start removing those mystical illusions that have been in your face, or in front of you for so long, and you really can live your essence and start living the way you want to live, the life you're meant to live, you absolutely want to live longer. And in NeoThink, we come together, Neotech, and we even help each other. I feel better at my age right now than I did when I was in my 20s and 30s, because I have the opportunities now to look at other ways to stay healthy and remove those mysticisms. And like Charlie's pointing out, the racial, the age, all that, when you're here, it isn't an issue like that has been put out there. And if you look at it, if you get down to the essence of those issues, it's because they want us not to get along. That's how they create wars. That's how they usurp your power. That is how the AC operates to keep the masses in control. But we here are moving closer to those goals of biological immortality, because we're all looking at the results that we want to have. And yes, when you're living with happiness, prosperity, all of those things that Neotech gives you, you want to live longer. I know I do. Well, what do you feel like, Charlie, about that?
I'm here. I mean, my mind is I'm here forever. I'm planning on it. I mean, it's not that it's funny, because like when people ask you, what I might not live forever. I understand that. But it doesn't mean, just because you might believe in there's a lot of steps, or there's a lot of, I don't know if it's stages that you go through to really understand biological immortality. And when you embrace it, you're only halfway there, I think. I'm looking at it now as, I'm 68. I feel pretty good. I've been going through a lot of tests lately, and, and there's some things that's not as good as they should be. But I'm going to do everything I can. And see, this is where this is where you have to look at it and say, all right, yes, I do believe in biological mortality. But then do you really have that mentality? And I think the last one that, there's nothing, my odds are I probably will not make it because of my age, unless something happens drastically. I mean, I know that there's cures out there now. And if we ever got people to really want this, we probably could have it within a decade. My goal is just to try and hang in as long as possible, because the longer that you live, the better shot you have of, there's so many people say around 2040, like at least by that time, which is only 20 years from now, basically, there's going to be a lot of advancement. So if you're getting older in life, what are you doing to stay living? Are you watching your diet? And I'm starting to work on that a lot more now. Are you exercising? Are you doing all the things that you can to stay as healthy as you can? Now, that's when you really, when you're doing it now because you do think that you would like to live forever, or that you have this in your mind now, it's a mentality shift. and I really believe it, that if I hang in long enough, because there's doctors out there now, there's these scientists out there now who thinks that the kids that are being born today could basically, well, a couple of years ago, they said that these kids would probably live to at least be 1,000. Okay? Now I'm thinking, 1,000 years from now, then we have biological mortality available to us right now, I believe. So what's the technology going to be like 1,000 years from now? They won't know what death is. So you have to embrace it in every way possible, mind, body, and soul. And if you don't, that's up to you. But if you go through all the steps of learning Neo-Think and Neotech, and you believe, and the more that you learn here, and the more that you become yourself, and the more that you find out about yourself, and the more that you're living your essence, you don't want to die. I know Steve didn't want to die, but he had a bad heart. He knew her for years, and he lived a lot longer than anybody ever thought he would. But he had no plans on dying. No, so, and it really shook me because I'm saying, well, geez, I felt the same as he did. I had no plans on dying. That doesn't mean that I won't have a heart attack in a year or tomorrow, for that matter. I don't know. But I'm not living that way. And he wasn't either. He lived his fullest life he could every damn day since I've known him. So he lived it. And he lived these books. And that's what I'm trying to do, is to live these books, to try and help as many people as I can. And I'm just moving forward. I'm not thinking about the past. I'm thinking about the future. And I'm going to fight, kick, scream, yell, do whatever I can to live as long as I can. Because every day that we live, it's one day closer. Closer to either death or it's closer to biological immortality. But you got to believe it in your soul. And how do you do that? Well, you do that by learning these books. By taking care of yourself physically. Sometimes I go off that bandwagon and I'll eat a pizza or I'll do something that I shouldn't eat, but it's not often. And I'm trying to cut that down more and more. And it's hard because it's so easy to eat the crap that's out there because it tastes so damn good. So it's hard to give up a lot of stuff. But do I want to die because I couldn't say no to the pizza, or do I want to live and eat all these good foods and live this full life? And then even if you do believe in biological immortality, so you look at it, try to wrap your head around this. And I know this is coming out of the books a little bit, but it's not. It really isn't. If you truly believe in biological immortality, how are you going to handle that time has no meaning anymore? We have forever. And I told this before. I was reading this one book, and it was something. It wasn't like Miss Annabelle, but it was in that same category. The world was changing, and the mentality shift changes. And this country was divided in half, and there was like all of the major cities was all under this rule that you couldn't do anything. All right, but then in the Badlands or the Outlands or in the country itself, all those people didn't want to be with being told what to do the whole life. So they end up getting better and better, and they end up going into space and travel and all that. So anyway, as the story goes on, the two main characters, this is well past now, where they know that they're going to live forever. All right? And they still can't comprehend what forever meant. And it was like, I don't know, 30 or 40 years after they knew that they weren't going to die, they were still trying to grasp the mentality of it. And it was amazing that they were looking at it. So at one point, the two of them, near the very end of the book, they were planning this vacation. And their vacation was to go as far into space as they could, and that was expanding all the time. They made these great strides in space travel, and they wanted to go into space as far as they could go. And so they were planning this trip for the next 200 years. So I'm sitting there, I'm saying, whoa, most people have a hard time planning a vacation for a week. And they were planning a vacation for 200 years. They would not return to Earth in 200 years. I mean, that to me was hard to comprehend. But that's where our minds can go. That's where we can go. And just imagine that. Just think about that for a second. We are in the civilization of the universe, in the same bodies as said. We're all younger now, obviously. We're all looking younger. You know, we might be 800 years old, but you look like you're 30. You know, wow. I'll take that every day of the week. And now, I mean, and I sat there. When I finished that book, then I really thought about it. I'm saying, what would it be like? How would it feel to plan a trip for 200 years? And I'm thinking, what a relief. What a relief that you're not going to die. And what joy of all the learning that you're going to accomplish. Just on that trip for 200 years. All the new things you'll see, all the new ideas, all the new technologies, all this knowledge that you'll learn, the excitement, all of that wrapped up in a package for you. And all you got to do is open up the box. That's what biological immortality is. Achieving that is unbelievable. Because all we can achieve here right now is, you know, if I can live through the summer, I can take a vacation this year, and that'll be a good year. I can have a whole week off. Look at the difference. And that's even if you get a vacation. Even if a whole bunch of people don't take vacations or they can't afford vacations. I know I'm due one because I haven't been away in a while. But imagine living in a time where you're not going to die. The freedom that has to be, the peacefulness that you feel, the more love that you feel for your family. You're not going to lose your family. You're not going to bury your kids. You're not going to bury your grandkids. And then pretty soon, your great-great-great-grandson or daughter will not even know what death is. Because imagine being born and you have no idea about dying. Where's their mentality at? Whew. And you're raised right from the get-go to live the life that you want to live. To give society more than you take out. And there's no racism, there's no robberies, there's no crime, there's no anything. It's just peace and love and knowledge. Constant learning of new knowledge. That's what this is all about. That's why, if you understand all these pages, you want it, you crave it. You don't want that. The last thing on your mind should be dying. That's what this is about. Embrace it. Learn this information so that you can grasp that. I don't have it all together yet about living forever. I'm trying to picture it and I get closer. But then even as, you know, I used to say all the time, you know, and I still do, I think about the civilization of the universe a lot. I think, you know, and I see myself in this new world of ours and all these inventions coming and this technology's movement. And it's not like the technology that we have today. Most of this technology is not helping us. Just because we can take a picture on a phone and we can send it to anybody we want and we can do this on a phone, doesn't mean that our lives are better. Hell, this phone I got in my hand right now is probably giving me radiation poison. And, you know, so, but I don't want to get off the track here. But how many inventions or how much of this technology is really making our lives better? I mean, really better. Not a lot of it. Of course, we're still dying. Cancer rates keep going up. But imagine living in a world where there is no more diseases. And just imagine living where you don't have to worry about anything anymore. Every day's a new adventure. And time means absolutely nothing. Right now we can't control our time, so we aren't moving forward. That's why we must do the mini days now, so that we can control our time, so that we can control our life. But that's all going to change. You know, understand, everything that's in this anti-civilization, everything, None of that will come over to the civilization of the universe. Nothing. We will leave it all behind. Understand, it's totally the opposite of what we have now. Because if you doubt that, then what would you want to take with you out of this anti-civilization that's going to help you in the sea of you? That's going to make your life better. That's the difference. That's what this is all about. That's why we have to struggle to understand this sometimes, and maybe read an extra 15 minutes a day or whatever it takes. But I was talking to this wonderful lady today, and she's having a hard time grasping this. And I was telling her of some of the things that she could do to understand these pages better, about just relaxing and asking yourself if you're teachable, and taking just 5 minutes before you start to read to really make sure that you're mentally ready to learn. And she says, well, I never thought about it that way. I said, well, that's because we have to start thinking for ourselves. What's the best way for me to read these books? What's the best way for me to understand these pages? What's the best way to make sure that I'm getting everything that I can out of them? All of that we have to keep asking ourselves every day. Because if you read just one page of any of these books, and if you don't understand something on that, don't go to the next page. Read it again. If you still can't get it, go on the reach out list. Talk to some of the people that you talk to. Give me a call. Give Juanita a call. Ask that question on the next call. But don't sit there and turn a page, and I don't fully understand that, and then expect to keep learning all of this if you're not understanding what you're reading. And this is not a race to see who can read the fastest. So if you don't understand something, either try to figure it out yourself or scream for somebody to help you. That's what we're here for. That's what these calls are for. Because the sooner that you start to understand all this, and that this is about us just basically being ourselves forever, wow. Well, I need anything on that.
Charlie, you're off the charts tonight. I wanna say, yes, you have to want to have biological immortality. You have to, like Charlie says, you have to crave it, like maybe you crave chocolate or something. But there's one page on 286 in the Achieving Personal Power, Prosperity, and Happiness. It really points out there that, like, for personal success, you can't give that to another. You have to want it from within yourself. And it points out that that Neotech is the essence of personal power, prosperity, and happiness. And Dr. Wallace always goes to the disease of the what's keeping us from having this happen is the disease of the mind, the mysticism. And it is a disease. So once you recognize that, you can always, I always ask myself, what is the non-mystical approach to before I start doing anything? And that helps me move forward. But on that particular page there, and Appendix F is very large, Charlie, that right there, that opened my doors for me. I'm like, wow. Because he's telling us that it's not about thinking positive. It's not about these guru tapes, all this other stuff. It's about removing negatives. And mysticism is a negative. And like Charlie pointed out, in Neo-Think here, we're about pure love. And that love has to begin within our own self. We have to love ourselves enough to know how to approach getting rid of mysticism. And we have to move forward with that pure honesty, too, that brutal honesty, that raw honesty. We can't, allow ourselves not to look deep within ourselves and say, wait a minute, whoa, I got to change this if I want to go live another day to tell another story. So I really embraced this appendix here because it really did open my eyes to even helps me improve on myself how, okay, if I keep on doing this, I'm not going to make it for 10 more years or 15 more years. So this is very powerful literature to keep us in check. And doing these calls with Charlie, and he's very aware of it because you can tell just by his passion that he knows what it's going to take to get us there. But it's going to take all of us and to work together through this because this isn't something that anybody can just go and put themselves in that mindset. Like you said, you have to build towards it. It's like building that bridge. You have to build towards it. And that's what I wanted to say, Charlie.
Yeah, like, as soon as you said self-love, we have that's such a big part of this. If you want to live forever, or if you start, you can't embrace living forever unless you do love yourself. If you're having a hard time embracing it, you don't have to embrace the whole picture yet, but you have to embrace that, yes, we can, and yes, I would like to, or yes, I would love to. But the more that you love yourself, the more that you will believe in biological immortality. So you have to get the neo-think and neo-tech mentality in your head and in your heart. And that's when you realize, wow, this is, wow, I don't want to die. I mean, I remember the first day that I actually said that and actually meant it because I was buying into this philosophy, this whole new mentality. And I asked myself, why am I feeling this now? Why didn't I feel this way a year ago or 6 months ago or even 2 weeks ago? And because you got to take the inventory of how you're feeling and why are you changing here or why are you changing there. You have to discuss that with yourself, whether it's a change for the good or not. Why am I changing this way? Why am I thinking different now? And then you start to address it. You start to realize, well, man, I think it's because I'm learning more about neo-tech and neo-think. I'm starting to understand this more and more. Having that kind of mentality of just looking at yourself, because when you see yourself and when you feel yourself getting better as a person, I mean, really better as a person, you're seeing the world in a whole different light. You're feeling better about yourself. You're feeling better about this. You're feeling better about that. You can't help but starting to love yourself more and more. And I know a lot of us came here basically maybe having a lot of self-hate about ourselves and not self-love. I mean, self-love to me was not a big priority at the time I came here. I mean, I just did not like I think I've always loved or at least loved myself to a point. But self-like, nah, I didn't like me at all. And there's a difference between love and like. It's like with families, I think most of us love our families, but do we always like them? So when you start to move up that ladder of integrations and pure love and pure honesty is in your heart now, and it's getting bigger and bigger, is when you'll start to believe in all of this more and more. And it's a great joy. I've always said, and I'm really sticking on this, especially I think this year, because this society has to move this year. We got to move forward this year, and I got a lot of things that I would want to do here, and I will discuss them live on Saturday. So that's another benefit of coming to these things, because I'm going to do them, and you can come along or not, but I will announce it there, and then starting next week, you're going to start hearing some of these announcements. But it's because I have a lot of faith in myself now. I have a lot of belief in myself, and I'm doing things that I could never have done before. And I'm not hesitating. I'm just jumping in, and I have this confidence about me now because I have neo-think and neo-tech in me. I don't have any doubts anymore. So I'm just jumping in. And if I fail at it, boom, I fail at it. Who cares? I'm not going to try it that way again. I mean, when you can sit here and this amazed me when I first had this mentality. I can't wait for my next failure. And people, what the hell are you talking about? I can't wait till my next failure. And that's how I look at this now. Because when I'm trying something, I want to fail. Because I'm going to learn from that. And that's how we move forward. You think that Bill Gates or Stephen Jobs or Henry Ford or Thomas Edison, they all failed miserably for a long time. But they learned from it. Nobody becomes successful and nobody becomes a millionaire without failing. No one. So I'm always looking for my next failure. It's not that, hope it's today. No, but the sooner that it comes and I learn from it, so I don't do that same mistake, that's the whole key. Don't keep making the same mistakes. Like Thomas Edison could tell you 7,000, 8,000 ways of not making a light bulb. That's what you have to, so now when you have that kind of mentality that, I'm going for it. I'm going for it now. And if nobody wants to keep up, then nobody keeps up. I'm not waiting for people to start taking action. They got to start taking action starting next week. And that's how I'm looking at this. Otherwise, neo-think and neo-tech is not about being stagnant. It's not about us moving.
We are still.
It's time for us to start moving and never look back. And we can do this. And I hope you all jump on board with some of the things that I'm going to propose to you. But you have to take the reins of it. I can't do it all, and I don't want to do it all. I want to replicate myself enough that we can take this to wherever that we want to take it to. And I'll stop with that because it is time for us to go. It is going to take us a few weeks to get through this.